of OnSide SA. Budge and I are going to be talking to Stevie B. He's up in Vancouver. He gets about, our Stevie, and we're going to run through the soccer. And Budge, what's Steve doing?
Oh, must be watching our soccer if he's in Vancouver. But brilliant. I just hope, let's say the time frame with Steve isn't the greatest. But good morning, Steve. Did you watch? You said you watched the highlights of last night's game.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I saw the highlights of both of the Champions League semis.
Yeah.
And I was surprised though. I mean, look, the first one. I mean, PSG had a lot of the game, but they didn't create enough really good chances.
Yeah.
Mbappe wasn't at his best. At Dortmund, fair play to them. They did well, and it surprised everybody. They were certainly, nowhere near sort of favourites going into the competition, and their Bundesliga form has been pretty poor this year. So, you never know. They might just, Marcus Royce playing his last game at Wembley. You never know. It might surprise, but I think Real just they just don't give up, and even with 5 minutes to go, they were still pressing, and you just thought maybe they might get, if they pull one back, and like they did against Man City a couple of years ago, they got two in the last minute. They pretty much did the same again.
Now, the skeptics said the last Champions League final at Wembley was Bayern Munich, Dortmund. So Dortmund back again, 2013 when Klopp was in charge. That game, I felt for PSG. I think was it 6 times they hit the post and the bar. It just wasn't going in. But tactically, they got it right. Wherever Mbappe was, they seemed to double team him. But they're on a good side, PSG. Just a pity that last night's game wasn't the final. But my take on that was, when they got to 85th minute, he took off. I know Messiah, the youngster, was battling. I think Gnabry went off with injury, but taking Harry Kane off, was for me. I know he rolled the dice to play 3 at the back. If you haven't got an escape ball against those top teams, you aren't beating them. They were there to get caught on the counter. Tuchel, I know he was blaming the last-minute goal where the linesman did flag early, but you don't know whether the player stopped or not. But I think he made a mistake. He was blaming players having cramp. They played Stuttgart on Saturday, and I looked before I came. He played most of his main players. So, why not take Harry Kane off with 30 minutes to go? You need him. It meant nothing, the game, even though they got beat by third place Stuttgart. But he's crying about cramps and that, Every other team knew what was going on. They made changes, and I feel for Noah because he's been a great goalkeeper, but unfortunately his times are under pressure. But over the 2 legs, I thought Real were the better team, Steve, and I agree. I think this is a 2-3-0 final.
I do feel, to be fair, obviously people will sort of, will make a joke of him. I do feel for Harry Kane. He had an amazing, he had an incredible season. 44 goals so far, and I think he must be disappointed that really a lot of the players around him just didn't perform this year. They were clearly second best in the Bundesliga. Threw away an opportunity in the German Cup, lost to a third division team, and here they had a great opportunity to progress to a final that they could well have won. And apart from getting the Golden Boot, he's won nothing else. So who knows what will happen next season? It's Leverkusen. If Alonso staying there, there's no reason why they can't win it back to back. So. It just hasn't quite worked out for him. Personally, scoring goals, but not what he hoped for, was to get trophies.
It's never ideal losing a manager or firing a manager in the middle of a season.
Also, Sane and Gnabry, I don't think they're quality players anyway. They've done a good job in a mediocre German league, but I don't think he's surrounded by too much there. But if I was him, I'd have said to Tuchel, "What are you doing taking me off? You got like 7-8 minutes to go." Obviously injury time included, but why not wait till extra time to take me off? I understand with a youngster, but if I was Harry Kane, but you can't say anything, but I'd just be shaking my head at Tuchel. But anyway, Steve, a couple of Europa League games last night, tonight. Atalanta should be too good for Marseille?
I think so, they were too good for Liverpool overall, and I think they should be, again, for Marseille.
I watched the first game, Bayer Leverkusen and Roma, and Lukaku missed chance after chance. I couldn't believe the header he missed from the small box. If they score first, do you give them a chance of causing an upset?
Yeah, a lot, of course, but but I think Leverkusen, no one's beaten them. I mean, they just seem to be on a roll, and it would be an unbelievable season for them to win the competition and basically go the season unbeaten in 3 competitions, which has been incredible. So, for a team that have basically won nothing ever. So, amazing. And I saw last night that, again, I saw the highlights. Club Brugge looked as if they might be forcing extra time, and Fiorentina pinched the late goal to go through.
Now, talking about the Europa Conference League, Aston Villa are 4-2 down. Any chance they can turn it around?
No, I think they can. I was very surprised with that first game. I saw highlights. Olympiacos, I think, just played above themselves, and I think they caught Villa cold. But I think it'll be a tough going. The atmosphere is going to be, in Greece, it normally is. It's very, very. Volatile, and they really get behind their team. I think Villa will do well to salvage that. I can't see it somehow.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals again. Anyway, Steve, on to the Premiership, and start Saturday lunchtime with your boys Fulham at home to champions Man City. Any chance of an upset?
I would be very surprised. I think, look, we've got nothing to play for apart from pride. I think we've got a fully fit squad pretty much. I think they'll give it a go, but City beat us. We haven't. I think I've read the last 15 matches, we haven't so much as even got a draw against them. So it's very hard to see anything other than the City win. They're going through the motions at the moment. Haaland back, scored 4 last week. He likes us. He scored quite a few against us. I would be amazed. I know Arsenal fans are hoping for a bit of a miracle, but I would be amazed if it's anything other than an away win.
Yeah, only thing in your favour is the early kick-off, but City have had a week to prepare. I think there'll be over 3.5 goals, just under even money. That's my suggestion. Bournemouth going great guns at home to Brentford. And I watched your game last week against Brentford, but 9-10 Bournemouth, Steve, isn't that a bit short?
I think it's a bit short. I think they're certainly favourites at home. They want to go out, so they've had they finished strongly. I know they lost last week, but overall they've had a decent season from where they started, and I think that they might just be a little bit too strong for Brentford. Brentford have been interesting. Ivan Toney hasn't scored in quite a few games. Yeah. There's a lot of talk about him going to the Euros, but he hasn't really shown much form, and there are players I think ahead of him. So if he doesn't score in these last couple of games, I think that's a tough call for Southgate to take him.
Yeah, he just needs an out-and-out number 9 next to Harry Kane. I don't think there are many others. Watkins and those guys are runners in behind. I like Tony. He hasn't played well. I think this is a game he comes right, Steve. I agree. I think there'll be goals. This could have 2-2 written all over it. So I took Brentford to score over 1.5 goals at 13-10. I agree with Bournemouth, unbeaten at 6 at home, but they just look a soft touch defensively, and that's one thing about Brentford. They're a physical side, and they may upset them, but it draws my suggestion. Everton surely have got to be too good for Sheffield United.
4-10.
Yeah, they've had a strong end to the season, Everton, and obviously they've stayed up comfortably now, and I think that they will win. Look, Sheffield United have conceded a record 100 goals, and I think they'll concede it. Look, Everton don't score many, but they don't concede many at home, and I think that personally, I think they'll win by a couple of goals, Everton.
Yeah, I think this has got 3-1, 4-1 written all over it. One thing Sheffield United do is have a full go. They're woeful at the back, but they do score goals. So Everton to win and both teams to score is my suggestion. Newcastle on fire towards the end of the season. And I watched Brighton beat Aston Villa. They played well, but
they did.
I think Newcastle, they're on fire now, Steve. I think they'll get an easy victory. What do you think?
I think they're pushing for a European place. I think that I think that they really will be up for it. Brighton surprised me last week. I thought that was a game Villa could have won, but I think Newcastle at home should be too strong, and unlike you, I think they'll win by a couple of goals at least.
Yeah, Paul, Tottenham, Burnley. Surely you've got to get back to winning ways.
Yeah, back at home we're a good side.
Yeah.
I think They're a side who've got nothing to worry about and just go for it, but I think it'll be too good for them. I don't know what starting lineup we'll have after Richarlison showed one of his better efforts, one of his better games. You know, they're screaming for Romero, screaming for start Lo Celso once. He says, I play with him, start Lo Celso once. You're giving everybody else a chance. That was his plea to the manager from Romero. De Grusen's agent said,
when's he going to play?
Play me. But as I say, with bloody our friend Ange, when is he going to play a youngster?
Yeah.
Don't bring on Brian Gills and people like that. They're playing for their country, these youngsters that sit on our bench.
Yeah.
As I say, Wayne Rooney, if he was at Spurs, he wouldn't get a game till he was 20.
But comfortable victory, Steve. I can see Burnley scoring, but Tottenham 3-1, 4-1, 5-1.
You would think so. I think Burnley get relegated this weekend.
Yeah.
They had half a chance at home last week and completely blew it. And I think they've got nothing left in the tank now. Tottenham have to win. Tottenham have to win. They want to try and consolidate that 5th place. They're in danger of being caught potentially. So I think that should be a comfortable home win.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that there. On to our second page, and we've got West Ham Luton. David Moyes, our seed's been given the axe. I think West Ham fans won't appreciate him until he's gone, but I think the players will give him a nice, outstanding farewell. I think they'll win comfortable here, Steve.
But Luton
have to win. They've got to get something. But that's been the last 16 games.
They've got their new striker, big striker back.
I think there'll be goals, but I fancy West Ham all day. What do you think, Steve?
I think so. Although West Ham have had a pretty poor run, I think with their last home game coming up against a team who are desperate to win, but basically they've only won. Was it 1 in 16 now?
Yeah.
So I think Luton. The only reason is because Forest obviously had the points deducted, and their form has not been that good that they've been close. But if West Ham win and Forest get something, I think that it's all over for them. So I think you're right. I think West Ham probably go out with a bang for David Moyes, but you just don't know. As you say, a lot of the pundits are saying that the fans should be careful what they wish for, because David Moyes has been their most successful manager in many years.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw a YouTube clip of Stuart Pearce, who was his assistant, and they were standing at the stadium, and he said, this club's over 100 years old. They've only got 4 trophies. That was before they won the Europa Conference League.
Jeez.
So he's won one of them in over 100 years, so be careful. But I think they'll get a result this time. Crystal Palace outclassed Man United on Monday night, but everyone's lumping on them. Steve, I think this is a tricky game at Wolves.
Yeah, but I just got a feeling that I saw them at Fulham, and in the first half performance particularly, they were by far the better team. They should have won. They could easily have won at Fulham, although in the end, they scored very, very late to equalise. But they've won 4 out of 5, scoring goals, and I think the truth is because for the first time this season, they've got pretty much a fit Eze and Elise playing together. And with this young Wharton in midfield, they look a decent side. And I just think, Wolves have still got 1 or 2 players out. I think Palace will go there and get a result.
I just think Wolves are slightly better organised than Man United, but I got to agree. You got to fancy Palace to at least get a draw. But Wolves at home, not the easiest. Big game, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea. Forest get a result. That's them out of it. But Chelsea going well. Only lost 1 in 12. But
if Forest win, are they staying up?
I would say, because I don't see Luton getting much. But Luton have got to get something.
Yeah.
If they don't, they're under severe. Steve, Chelsea, for all their plaudits that they're getting away from home, they haven't won in 5.
Yeah, they're not good away.
Is this the time to break the duck?
For me, I've got a feeling that they can smell a European place, Chelsea. They've still got... they've got the opportunity, if they win their games, they could do it. And I just think with Cole Palmer, the way he's playing, I think that they'll go to Forest. Forest will throw everything at them, but I just think Chelsea might have a little bit too much. And even if Forest lose, I can't see Luton nor Burnley catching them. So, for me, I fancy Chelsea win.
Even money. I just think over 3.5 goals at 16-10. It has to be goals. I fancy Forest.
5-1 Man United.
5-1 Man United. If it was 15-1, I wouldn't be backing Man United. But saying that, I was at the game in 2004 when United beat the Invincibles or the Unbeatables.
Yeah.
I just don't see this Man United getting a corner the way they've been playing. It looks like to me the players have thrown it in for this manager, and I think Arsenal are the worst team to play because defensively they're superb. And I think this is a 2-3-0 game, similar to what Man City did at Old Trafford earlier on
United
the
would
year.
have to score first.
4-10, Steve. It's 9-10 Arsenal to win by more than one at Old Trafford. Old boys, the Busby Bays must be turning in their graves.
Yeah, it's hard to make a case for anything other than an Arsenal win.
Yeah.
United have just been so poor. Whether or not they're going to show a reaction at home, they've got 2 home games left. Obviously, this one and Newcastle during the week. I saw the highlights of the Palace game, and it was shocking, really. I mean, the comments and some of the pundits afterwards saying that they thought United are the worst coach team in the league, based on the sort of players they've got. How you can make a case for keeping Ten Hag, either you're blaming him or you're blaming all the players. It's something's not right there. So, I think they're going to have a huge clear out, including the manager. I'd be amazed if they keep him. Look, it's hard to see, as you said, hard to see a case for anything. Arsenal have to win because obviously if City win at Fulham, they're in pole position. So anything other than an Arsenal win and it's game over. So it should be an entertaining game. If United,
this is a close game.
You know yourself, Bunch. They can raise their game. If they can, I don't know what the situation is with Fernandes, whether he's going to be back. Obviously, if he isn't, I don't think they got anything really to hurt Arsenal.
Yeah, defensively we're a shambles. Middle of park, we got Mainu, and it's just open gates, and Arsenal just pick us apart. Last game, a big game, Aston Villa, Liverpool. I was all over Liverpool until I realised the game is on Monday, so they do have an extra 24 hours to prepare. At Villa Park, you expect Spurs to get a result. They get a result here. That's them in the 4th place. Can you see them upsetting Liverpool?
Well, they can do. I mean, obviously they do have to travel to Greece on Thursday. They do get the extra day, but their heads might drop a little bit because you find that they've lost. They could have ended up losing 3 in a row if they lose in Greece. Which is not good. Having said that, I think 4th place is still theirs. Yeah. So, even if Tottenham win as expected, Villa have still got, even a point is probably enough for Villa, isn't it? So, I think this will be, look, we don't know what you're going to get from Liverpool. Obviously, they won last week fairly convincingly, but, they haven't really shown much. I think this will be a tough game. I fancy a draw here, score draw.
Yeah, got to agree. Fancy it as well. Steve, on to the championship at the playoffs kick off on Sunday. And first up, Norwich Leeds. Leeds have only won 2 of the last 8. Their away form hasn't been the greatest either. But these games are normally tight. Do you think the draw at 24-10 is the right play here?
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is, normally you have at least one team going into the playoffs in form. None of these teams are in form. Yeah. Southampton had a few wins, but have lost 3. Leeds, as you say, 1 or 2 wins in 8. Norwich only won 2 in 6. It's hard to call. I think Leeds. The pundits are saying that they're starting to fall apart again. Norwich have to win this one at home, I think, because I think Leeds at Ellen Road would be too strong. I fancy a draw in this. I think Norwich will give it a go, but I think Daniel Farke will just get that Leeds team, get some of these bad results out of the way, and say, right, this is it now. You got two big games ahead of a Wembley clash. So I fancy Leeds overall, but I think this first game might be a draw.
Yeah, I think under 2.5 goals at like 12-10, 11.5-10 is a good thing. Was Daniel Farke didn't he take Norwich up?
He did, yeah.
He goes back. The other thing, Leeds will keep it tight, look to catch them on the break. So we'll see what happens there. The other game I'm more interested in is West Brom, Southampton. I fancy Southampton, Steve. I watched them play a couple of weeks ago on Friday night, and Southampton beat them comfortably 2-0. West Brom, I know they've had a couple of results lately, but I think Southampton are miles ahead of them, and I fancy them to get a result here. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if they don't win in the first leg, I think the worst they'll get is a draw and win in the second leg. So for me, I think we could have a repeat of last weekend's game, Leeds Southampton. And interesting, obviously, with the two teams that went down. But one of them is going to stay down, as we know. So, I think that West Brom will try, but again, they haven't shown a huge amount of form recently, especially against the big teams. So, I think I fancy Southampton for this one.
Yeah, Steve, I've got to ask you, who do you fancy of the four sides to get promoted? Who you on?
I was on Leeds all the way, but they just fell apart. Going into the final, is last weekend going to count for anything? Southampton beat them. Southampton might look at that and think, well, we beat them once, we can do it again. But Leeds have got the players to beat anybody. And up until the last sort of half a dozen games, I was convinced that they were going to overhaul Ipswich. So I think still for me, Leeds. Yeah,
but I'm on Southampton. I just think it's time they got goal scorers. Steve, pressure time a game. I need your best bet and value bet.
Yeah, tricky. I'm going to go for Chelsea by best bet. I just think that they're just starting to score goals. They were finding goals hard to come by. Obviously 5 against West Ham, 6 against Everton, and I think that they can score enough at Forest. And for me, value bet, I'm going to go for Crystal Palace. I just think shown a lot of form. I think they've a lot of attacking intent, and I think that they'll be too strong for Wolves.
Yeah, well, I'm going Southampton as my best, the value bet, and I'm all over West Ham. I think I was going to go Valencia in Spain, then I thought we'll keep it to England. And I just think West Ham will have too much. David Moyes' last game, I think the players will realise, hang on, this is a good guy. That Spanish guy coming in, Lopetegui, he'll want to come and change it. And I think they'll realise what a good manager they're losing. And it's West Ham for me. Steve, thank you very much. I'm sure it's good morning in Vancouver. And we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, cheers.
All the best, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right, let's go PSL. I'm going to just run through some results quickly with you, Budge. Cape Town City beat Swallows.
Got victory. Yeah.
Kaiser Chiefs Galaxy 2
I watched it, Paul. It was Chiefs 1-0 up, 1-0. Then the player sent off. Then they free kick, the guy ducked it or jumped to the wall. It went in, and TS Galaxy scored late. Fair result, though.
Supersport drew with Sekhukhune.
Struggling Gavin's team,
Yeah. And Royal LM lost to Cape Town Spurs.
Royal AM against Cape Town Spurs half a squeak, Paul, but they're still under pressure.
Then Wednesday, Stellenbosch and Amazulu 0-0. A Golden Arrows, Sundowns 0-0.
Sundowns had a player sent off, so good results in the end.
Orlando Pirates, they're doing well. 2-0 Chipper and Polokwane 0-0. 3 0-0s last night out of 4 games.
A lack of quality up front.
The fixtures coming up now, Budge, are very, very interesting. As you say, Supersport are not banging them in.
Yeah.
But they've got to beat Cape Town Spurs at home.
So, Paul, last chance saloon for Cape Town Spurs. 6 points adrift with 3 games to go. Got to give it. But Gavin's team's in woeful form.
Yeah.
But this is it, Paul. The betting will change because of the games last night. But you've got to think Supersport will get back to winning ways.
Polokwane, Sekhukhune.
Sekhukhune, Paul. I like them. I've watched them play a few times. Well organised. They don't get beat too often away from home. I think only Sundowns have beat them away from home. So a draw in Sekhukhune for me there.
Morocco Swallows, Stellenbosch.
Well, I think the betting should be a little bit closer. Stellenbosch are unbeaten in like 19. Steve's done a great job there. Swallows, you just never know with Swallows, Paul.
Yeah,
but at Dobsonville, they're always dangerous. But a draw in Stellenbosch should be there.
Sundowns, Royal AM.
Well, it's 25 league games they haven't lost in, Paul. But they've drawn the last few. They're at the CAF Champions League, so they'll be mixing and matching their players. Royal AM are under pressure. You've got to think the price is short, but you've got to fancy Sundowns.
Pirates 1-5 to beat Richards Bay.
Richards Bay, Paul, they can't score. Pirates have been on a roll lately, Paul.
Yeah.
The betting is obviously a bit short.
A bit thin, eh?
What can you do? Should be Pirates.
Cape Town City against TS Galaxy Budge.
I fancy Cape Town City. They had a bad run, but they've got a good result at home in midweek.
Okay.
I fancy them 13-10 to beat TS Galaxy, yeah.
Golden Arrows Chipper.
Paul, this has got 0-0 written all over it.
Again.
Golden Arrows, they're good to watch, Paul, but up front they're just lacking. And Chipper are well organised at the back. It's another 0-0 draw.
AmaZulu playing Kaizer Chiefs. They're just about the same price.
Yeah, Moses Mabhida, Paul, but Chiefs hardly lose to AmaZulu.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I remember the first year the Soccer 6 came out, but that's how good it. Clive was involved, and he said, whatever you do, Chiefs, I think, will beat AmaZulu. They beat them 6-0. And got to fancy them, Paul, but you're just struggling to score, Chiefs.
Right, Buzz, let's look at your bets.
Yeah, the first betters are Saturday score 6, and I'm bankering Man City to beat Fulham. I've got the field in the Bournemouth versus Brentford fixture. I think Newcastle United will be too good for Brighton. As much as I fancy West Ham, I've thrown the draw in against a desperate Luton Town. Crystal Palace win and draw at Wolves in the field. I think it's a closer game than Stevie thinks.
Yeah,
Notts Forest against Chelsea. 2-1-6. Yeah. On to the second Soccer 6. I'm going Celtic in the massive game Saturday lunchtime. Win and draw at home against Rangers. Real Mallorca, I don't see them losing against Las Palmas. I'm starting with Sekhukhune United. Win and draw against Polokwane. And another away team, Stellenbosch, to avoid defeat against Swallows. Chancing Freiburg to beat Heidenheim in the Bundesliga. And Villarreal win and draw against Sevilla. 192. On to our score 10. I'm bankering Man City to beat Fulham. Bournemouth win and draw at home against Brentford. And then 3 bankers. Everton to beat Sheffield United. Newcastle to beat Brighton. And Tottenham to beat Burnley. On to our second page, I'm going West Ham win and draw against Luton. The field in the Wolves versus Crystal Palace match, as well as Villarreal and Sevilla. I'm going all 3 options. Real Madrid, I think, will be too good for Granada, even though they have won the league. And I don't see a result in the Notts Forest Chelsea game. 2-1-6. On to the Soccer 13, I'm going Chelsea win and draw at Notts Forest. Banking Newcastle to beat Brighton. Tottenham to beat Burnley. West Ham to avoid defeat at home against Luton Town. And Crystal Palace win and draw at Wolves. Brentford to avoid defeat at home against Brentford. And banking Everton to beat Sheffield United. On to the second page, I'm going for Gaze Gothenburg to beat Västerås SK. MK Dons, who are 4-0 down in the first playoff leg to beat Crawley Town. And Napoli win and draw at home against Bologna. Villarreal win and draw at home against Sevilla. Borussia Dortmund, after Tuesday night, I've thrown the draw in at struggling Mainz, and I think Mulder will be too good in the Norwegian League for Rosenborg. 256.
Budgie's best bets.
Yeah, Paul, we're going to have a dip as well. It's coming to an end, Paul. So I'm going Man City, Everton and Tottenham all to win and both teams to score in each game. So Man City are playing Fulham, Tottenham, Burnley and... Everton, Sheffield United and Tottenham, Burnley, 2,700 to 200. I fancy a few lurkers this week to score over the 1.5 goals. I'm going for Brentford, Newcastle, Notts Forest and Aston Villa, all to score a minimum of 2,600 to 200. Looking for bets, I'm going for 3 goal scorers who are in great form. I'm going for Newcastle's Alexander Isak. I'm going for Chelsea's Cole Palmer and Aston Villa's Ori Watkins. All to score any time, 2,400 to 200.
They've all had good seasons.
Yeah, and they all take the penalties as well.
That's
on to Spain, a massive one. On to Spain, I'm going over 2.5 goals in the Alaves-Girona game on Friday, as well as the Atletico Madrid-Celta Vigo game on Saturday. And then this, for me, I can't believe the price. It's 5-1. Over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no in the Granada-Real Madrid clash, 3,200 to 200. Now, the reason that is obviously Wednesday night, Real Madrid played in the Champions League, and they're going to rotate their team. But when you see their second team, a lot of quality players like Modric and co. So 3,000 to 200 is my selection. Had to dip into the Italian league, so I'm going Inter Milan to win by more than 1 goal. It's the -1 handicap. I'm going AC Milan to beat Frosinone and both teams to score. And then both teams to score in the big game on Sunday, Fiorentina versus AC Monza, 2,300 to 200. And our Collis King, 6 or Nixa, I had to put a team in round about 8 to 10 to bump the odds up. So I've gone West Ham to beat Luton Town, Arsenal to beat Man United, Inter Milan to beat Frosinone, AC Milan to beat Cagliari, Real Madrid to beat Granada, and Atletico Madrid to beat Celta Vigo, 2,400 to 200.
Good man, Budge. Very good. So those are the teams for this weekend. The league is all to play for on the top and all to play for on the bottom. So, Budge, until next time, stay on side.